It's been a long time since I've done an Operation Protect the White Boy video as far as it being its own standalone video. I actually did a stream with Lisa Cabrera, and shout out to her a few weeks ago, where we did a whole stream dedicated to basically Operation Protect the White Boy and some white women. But this again is the first time in a while that I've done one on its own. And I wanted to bring you this story that's coming out of North Carolina involving this guy whose name is Joshua Wayne Hawley, out of a place called Connolly Springs, North Carolina. Never heard of it. Where he bought multiple pipe bombs to a church and ended up, of course, in true Operation Protect the White Boy fashion, got no jail time for what he did after he was given, or they were flooded with a bunch of letters basically saying how good of a guy this dude actually is. And all he got hit with was, I believe, 2.5 years of probation. If that's not the ultimate Operation Protect the White Boy, I don't know what is. But let's get into the story. I am recording this video on August 24th, 2023, and the article was posted August 23rd, 2023. A North Carolina man who bought 2 pipe bomb-like devices to a church earlier this year avoided jail time after family and community members wrote letters en masse to a local court asking for leniency. So as you can see, they all got on cold. His family and other people around the community got on cold for this dude after he bought 2 pipe bombs to a church that could have caused a lot of damage or worse. And they asked for leniency, and he got it. Joshua Wayne Hawley, age 37, of Connolly Springs, pleaded guilty earlier this month in Catawba County Superior Court to 3 counts of possession of a weapon of mass destruction. The father was sentenced to 3 years of supervised probation, a mental evaluation, and barred from possessing firearms and explosives, as well as prevented from contacting the church where he bought the explosive devices earlier this year. Joshua is a good, caring man and deserves better than this, his wife Savannah Hawley wrote in a letter to the court, the Hickory Record reported. His children need him and he needs his children. Please don't let him go away for 2.5 years. Jail isn't the punishment he deserves. He deserves a good doctor and medication. Now that is a statement or a quote from his wife. Joshua Hawley often fixates on various things due to his mental illness, here we go, or mental status. Local resident Jackie Miller added in a letter of her own, and at that time he was fixated on making smoke bombs, something he apparently did in his youth. So you're trying to like literally attribute to what he did when he was younger with what he did as an adult. This guy could have harmed people. Hell, if it went off the wrong way, he could have harmed himself. Or worse, damage to property. This guy brought pipe bombs to a church with the intent to detonate. And y'all are saying that he's really a good and caring person. He's a father. He just has some mental issues. Again, Operation Protect the White Boy in extreme full effect. The 37-year-old was arrested in May for bringing multiple pipe bombs to Marketplace Church in Mountain View. The pastor of the church told police Hawley had mental issues and showed up to the church in a quote-unquote manic state, telling an employee he bought something for the church and asked security guards where the pastor's vehicle was. Warning the employee the pastor should be careful so the bomb didn't quote-unquote blow up in his face, according to the Morganton News Herald. No one was injured in the incident. I think in a house of worship, people should feel safe and not feel intimidated, Catawba County Sheriff Don Brown said at the time for the arrest. 4 months before the pipe bomb incident, Hawley had been asked to stop attending the church after members grew uncomfortable with his behavior, which included showing up to the facility in military-style attire, wearing a body camera, and open carrying guns and knives. Now peep that. This guy came up in there with the intent to pull a Dylan Roof. Now, I'm not sure what the demographics of this church is, but I'm willing to bet it just says to me that it's most likely not a majority black area. So that's most likely not the demographic. He just wanted to go and terrorize. So y'all heard that. This guy came up there with military style, dressed in military gear with guns and knives. You don't just dress like that unless it's, for not decoration in a costume, unless it's Halloween. And even then, you're not carrying around a real gun and real knife. This guy came up in there with the intent to cause harm. Now, he just chose not to go up in there, but they said this happened on multiple occasions. They told him to stop coming there. And this was 4 months prior to what he did. So keep in mind, this happened back in May when he came up there with the pipe bombs. So this happened earlier that year, like around the January mark, at basically at the top of the year that he did that. And I guess he felt some type of way and said, okay, I'll show them. I'm just going to come back to the church, but I'm not going to be dressed in this military tactic gear. I'm just going to come up in there with 2 pipe bombs with the intent, in my honest opinion, to detonate them or set them off. Hawley did not have a formal mental health diagnosis at the time, though family members said in letters to the court they believe he suffers from mental illness, including bipolar disorder and border schizophrenia. So they don't have anything documented that this man has any kind of mental illness, like many of them actually don't. They just throw it out there to try to save face. They don't have anything documented from a doctor or a diagnosis saying that he has these things, but because family members put in letters that they believe he has mental issues, that's what it is. That's what it had to have been. Him showing up there in military style gear with knives and guns, that was part of his mental illness. Him coming back to the church a month later with pipe bombs, that was a part of the mental illness too. That is such a disregard and disrespect to people who actually have mental illnesses that don't engage in that type of behavior. And I've said that on multiple occasions. And that's the whole article right there. But that's just nothing but an insult to our intelligence. But again, it wouldn't be Operation Protect the White Boy without it. But what I found to be even more interesting was when I was looking up a picture to put up here of this dude to talk about the story, another image of him popped up from an incident he was involved with 2 years ago, back in 2021. And it's this story right here. So this is from 2021, and look at what the headline says. Man arrested for shooting beloved dog multiple times at Betsy's Old Country Store in Caldwell County. This is the same exact dude that brought them pipe bombs to that church that got him 2.5 years of probation. Let's look into this story right here. And it's coming out of a place called Collettsville, Georgia, or Collettsville, Georgia. North Carolina, I'm sorry. A man has been arrested on a felony animal cruelty charge after investigators say he shot and killed a dog at Betsy Old Country Store in Caldwell County. The shooting happened just before 12 p.m. on March 28th at the store on Highway 90. The dog's owner called police and reported that a man, who was later identified as 35-year-old Joshua Hawley, got out of a van and shot her dog multiple times. So this right here, by them telling his age at this time, confirms that this is indeed him, because now Joshua Hawley, 2 years later, is 37. So the description matches up, the location, because of happening in North Carolina, matches up, and the age. So here we have a guy that killed this dog. That's the dog that he took out, and ironically, he got a felony charge behind that. And this is what he gets the felony for. Now, mind you, he brought 2 pipe bombs to a church and he didn't get not one charge. The dog, named Rocky, was found dead on the porch of the store, according to a news release. Investigators say someone who was with Hawley at the time of the shooting identified him as the suspect in the case. Investigators say they questioned Hawley, and he reportedly admitted to shooting the dog. He told investigators he shot the dog because it attacked him, according to a news release. Authorities say Hawley also admitted to leaving the scene after shooting the dog. Hawley has been charged with felony cruelty to animals. His bond was set at $10,000, and he was scheduled to appear in court for his first appearance on March 31st. And this is the last update that came from that dog shooting incident, where they started to now go after the store owner who was involved with this as well, because they said store owner failed to turn over the video of the dog charging before being shot. And it basically says that the store owner failed to turn over the video of what Josh Hawley did to the dog, and because they failed to do so, they ended up charging the store owner, whose name is Bruce Gray, for felony obstruction of justice for not turning over the video. And past this point, there's really nothing else there. Like, I looked it up to see if there was any more updates that came from this particular story, but it pretty much ended right after that. So as y'all can see, Hawley has a pretty interesting past. And currently now he still has an interesting present. And the fact that he's only getting 2.5 years probation and some quote unquote mental evaluations for something he allegedly has that has not been documented or diagnosed by any doctor lets you know that they gonna have to keep a close eye on this dude, because I wouldn't be surprised if he acts out again once his probationary period is over, or he may go for the goal and actually just act out again while under probation. But again, it wouldn't be Operation Protect the White Boy in full effect if you didn't have people like Joshua Hawley who existed in the world.